The Galactic Educational Exchange Program had seemed like a brilliant idea on paper. Analea and Coulson, two human students from Earth, had jumped at the opportunity to study at the prestigious Xyrathian Academy of Floating, institution that housed the brightest minds from 47 different species across the galaxy. What nobody had mentioned in the carefully worded brochures was the mandatory physical education requirement. Analea stood in the gymnasium's entrance, her dark eyes widening as she took in the massive facility. The ceiling stretched upward for what seemed like hundreds of meters, disappearing into an artificial sky that mimicked the purple-tinged atmosphere of Xyrathia Prime. Obstacle courses twisted through the air on anti-gravity platforms, and pools of various liquids bubbled in designated zones across the floor. "This is insane," Coulson muttered beside her, adjusting his Earth-standard athletic wear. His sandy hair was already damp with nervous sweat. "I thought this was supposed to be a cultural exchange, not military training." Their instructor, a crystalline being named Querix who refracted light in dizzying patterns, chimed melodically to get the class's attention. 23 students from various worlds assembled in a loose formation. The humans noticed immediately that they were among the smallest beings present. "Welcome, students, to advanced physical conditioning," Querix announced, their voice reverberating through translation implants. "Today's assessment will test your species' physical capabilities across 12 standardized challenges. Do not be discouraged if you cannot complete them all. These exercises are designed to push the limits of what galactic citizens can achieve." Analea glanced at Coulson, who shrugged. They'd been briefed that humans came from what the galaxy classified as a Class 7 death world, a planet so hostile that most species considered it barely habitable. Earth's gravity was punishing, its weather unpredictable, its predators numerous. But standing among beings twice their size, that classification felt like cold comfort. The first challenge was simple, a 3-kilometer run on a standard track. Querix activated their chronometer, and the students began. Within 30 seconds, Analea and Coulson had pulled ahead of the pack. The Velcrin massive, 4-legged herbivores lumbered along steadily behind them. The insectoid Chithrex clicked and buzzed in frustration as their multiple legs struggled to find an efficient rhythm. The gelatinous Blorp delegation simply oozed forward at a pace that could generously be called glacial. Analea's breathing fell into an easy pattern. She'd run cross-country in high school, and this felt comfortable. Beside her, Coulson kept pace effortlessly, barely breaking a sweat. They crossed the finish line in just under 9 minutes. Querix's crystalline structure flickered with what might have been surprise. "Remarkable. A new academy record for this distance, really?" Coulson panted, hands on his knees. "That was pretty slow for us, actually. I usually run 5 kilometers in about 20 minutes back home." The instructor's light patterns shifted to colors that the translation implants couldn't quite interpret. "You regularly exceed this distance. For recreation?" "Sure," Analea added, having barely elevated her heart rate. "Lots of humans do. Some run marathons that's like 42 kilometers. A collective gasp rippled through the alien students. One of the Velcrin collapsed dramatically, claiming exhaustion. The second challenge involved climbing a vertical wall with randomized handholds. The Chithrex excelled at this with their multiple limbs and natural climbing adaptations. But when Analea stepped up, her fingers found purchase in grips that seemed impossibly small to the other species. Her muscles, dense from years in Earth's crushing gravity, pulled her upward with mechanical efficiency. She reached the top in 43 seconds. Coulson followed, his longer reach allowing him to skip several holds entirely. 39 seconds. Another record broken. The challenges continued. Strength tests designed for beings twice their mass. Analea and Coulson lifted the required weights as if they were moderate dumbbells. Endurance challenges in heat chambers that simulated desert planets. The humans stood comfortably in conditions that sent other species scrambling for cooling stations. A swimming test in high-density liquid, their Earth-adapted bodies moved through it like dolphins, while others struggled against the viscosity. By the 8th challenge, a reaction test involving dodging projectiles, Querix had stopped announcing the results. The instructor simply watched in what could only be described as stunned silence. as Analea weaved through a barrage of foam spheres with reflexes honed by millions of years of evolution, dodging predators, catching prey, and surviving on a planet that actively tried to kill its inhabitants. When Coulson completed the grip strength test and accidentally crushed the measuring device designed for beings with exoskeletons, the gymnasium had gone completely quiet. "I'm so sorry," Coulson said, holding the shattered equipment sheepishly. "I didn't think I was squeezing that hard. Should I pay for this?" Querix's chime sounded strangled. "You, neither of you, how?" Analea exchanged a confused look with Coulson. "How what, instructor?" "These challenges," Querix said slowly, their crystalline form pulsing with rapid color changes that suggested deep agitation, "are calibrated for the peak physical abilities of galactic species. They are designed to be barely achievable aspirational targets that students work toward over years. You have completed 12 out of 12 challenges. You have broken academy records that have stood for centuries. And you appear barely winded." "Oh," Analea said, the realization dawning. "Is this because we're from Earth?" "Your planet designation is Theta 779, Querix said, pulling up a holographic display. "Classification, Death World, Class 7. Gravity, 1 point for times galactic standard. Atmospheric pressure, 1.7 times standard. Temperature variance, extreme. Predator density, catastrophic. Native population survival rate." The instructor's voice faded. "How does anything survive there?" Coulson scratched the back of his head. "I mean, you just kind of get used to it. Everyone back home can do this stuff. This is pretty normal for us." The Velcrin who had collapsed earlier stared at the humans with all three of their eyes. "You are monsters," they whispered, not unkindly. "Beautiful, terrifying monsters. We prefer resilient," Analea said with a grin. Querix spent the next 20 minutes recalibrating the entire physical education curriculum. It was eventually decided that Analea and Coulson would serve as assistant instructors, rather than students, their impossible abilities becoming teaching tools for others. As they left the gymnasium that day, Coulson turned to Analea. "Think we should mention that we're not even athletes back home? Like, we're just average students?" Analea laughed. "Let's keep that to ourselves for now. I don't think the galaxy is ready for that information." Behind them, in the gymnasium, Querix was filing an urgent report to the Galactic Educational Board, recommending that all future assessments include a Death Worlder coefficient to account for species from Class 7 or higher worlds. The report's conclusion was simple. Humanity doesn't just survive the impossible. They make it look easy.